How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another Mass Effect Andromeda video. This one is a breakdown of the most recent gameplay footage that we got, and it's only a short video, about 2 minutes long, but we can actually learn quite a lot from it if we actually pause and break it down in a bit more detail. So we started off with a nice footage of the Tempest here, which looks amazing. It also has some amazing music at this point, which get me very excited for the music in Andromeda, but we already know a lot about the Tempest, so actually let's look into a bit more that we learned about the RPG elements. So if we pause on the first screen here, we already learned quite a bit from it. So this is one of our squad characters. This is, we all know her by now, this is PB, and we can see here that the two squad members in our team are Cora and PB. We haven't learned anything about any new squad members. The main ones that we know so far are PB, Cora, Liam, and we also know Drac and Vetra. And do you know what? I'm actually okay with that. I don't need to know any more about any of the future squad members. And to be honest, I wouldn't like to know more about them because I'd rather find out in the actual game when I play it for the first time. But let's break down what we learned from this video footage. So if we look in the top left-hand corner, we can see a default profile rider there. Now I assume obviously instead of default profile you'll probably have your name that you're going to choose for rider. We can see that rider here is a level 27, and we also can see information on how much XP you need to gain before you get to the next level. There is definitely an item limit there, so Mass Effect Andromeda is going back to the original Mass Effect 1, where I assume you'll be able to pick up ammo pieces, weapons, armor, and craft and customize those. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not you can dismantle those in the world, a little bit similar to, say, Omnigel, like we had in Mass Effect 1, but hopefully we'll have some way to increase that item limit size there. On the right hand side we can see the credit icon and also the Nexus level, and the Nexus seems to be leveled by something called AVP, so it's very different to maybe the normal experience that we get from combat or missions. And how we gain said AVP, I guess that remains to be seen. I don't even really know what AVP stands for, but let's have a look in a bit more detail. So we have the actual tabs at the top, and starting from the left, that's the world map, possibly the galactic map as well, the journal, codex, your inventory, something called profiles, skills, and finally the settings. If we have a look in a little bit more detail on this, we can see that Ryder's got 52 experience points to spend, and we can see that PB, if we have a look on the right hand side, she actually has her own class name, which is called a rogue academic, which is very interesting. And we can see obviously the usual stats and information on health and shields, and she also has a loadout beginning with this ability here called Invasion, which seems to be a new ability, which I'll talk a little bit more about as we progress further through the video. So let's carry on. Now there is an auto leveling system here that we can see, and from that we can actually see, hold on, let's get back, we can actually see that PB gains 3 abilities from that. So Invasion, Pull, and Shockwave. Now these all have a red icon around them, which I would usually assume to mean kind of like a soldier class, but we know Pull and Shockwave are biotic abilities, so it looks possibly like maybe PB is a cross between a biotic and an engineer. Maybe she has both tech and biotic abilities, but yeah, that's all speculation. Of course I don't know that completely, but it's one thought possibly. So as we carry on, we saw some information on the environments, and this environment here looked absolutely incredible, from the dust clouds to the lava and terrain, and it just the game looks amazing, and I can't wait to explore these areas. I am wondering if these areas are completely open world and traversable, and you know, it's going to be interesting to find out, but I'm very much looking forward to exploring all the different worlds. We then go into another sort of menu. Now this menu will look very familiar for many of you that have played Mass Effect 3. It's exactly the same style that we had in Mass Effect 3, and all the tabs and everything. Now, right in the middle, we can see a map, but the map looks very different. It looks almost like a galactic map, which is quite interesting. So whether or not we'll be able to control that from Ryder personally, rather than having to go into the galactic map on the Tempest. We then go into the Profiles tab, and this is a nice new change that BioWare brought in. Now, in all previous Mass Effect games, you've had to pretty much choose your class from the start, and you are stuck with that class pretty much from beginning to end. Well, in Mass Effect Andromeda, that is no longer the case. You can actually freely swap between profiles, as they're now known. They're no longer called classes, instead they are known as profiles. And you can freely swap between them at any given point just by going into the menu option. Even from this, it looks like from the gameplay that you can actually do it in the middle of a mission rather than having to choose at the beginning. So that's going to be quite interesting, and it's going to make gameplay a lot more tactical based. So it might be the case of you come across a certain enemy that you haven't fought before, and perhaps they are weak to tech or biotic abilities, and therefore you might want to swap out your Ryder and better equip yourself to that event. So it allows you to sort of react to things more instantly and obviously be a little bit more tactical. All the classes that we're used to are back, so Soldier, Engineer, Adept, Sentinel, Vanguard and Infiltrator, but we also now have a new profile which is called Explorer, and this is something that Ryder will have from the beginning, I think, and possibly it could be a mixture of a number of skills from these different profiles. But even though BioWare don't want you to stick to a particular profile, it does look like they are still encouraging you to combine certain skills, to encourage you to use certain classes, because obviously if you choose a particular class or profile, you do actually get bonus from that. So for example, if you chose the Soldier class, as we can see here, you would get a 10% bonus in weapon damage, weapon accuracy, +2 damage protection and +10% weapon clip size. You also get an ability called Marksman's Focus, which grants an escalating damage bonus for every target killed in a short time. We also got to have a more of a look at the Engineer class as well, and again, if you chose this class, you get tech bonuses basically in terms of damage, construct health and construct health regen. So we did learn a lot about the Engineer class. Then if we carry on playing it there, so we actually got to see then a lot more about the skills that we can acquire, and these are part of 3 particular trends: combat, biotics and tech. All these skills as well seem to have a 6 ranks to them, and this we got to see a lot more. We got to see a more detailed look at the different tech skills that we have. So familiar favorites like Overload, Incinerate, Assault Turret, Cryo Beam, Energy Drain, these are all back, but there is a nice new addition with them now. Each ability does actually now have 2 modes to it. So for example, with Overload, if you tap the button, it unleashes an electrostatic discharge upon a target, causing high damage against shields and synthetic enemies. But if you actually hold down the button, this actually charges Overload, causing it to chain to 2 additional targets. And I'm loving this new addition with these skills that we can have, and I can't wait to experiment with the 2 different modes that we can use. So we got to see a lot more on that. There are passive tech abilities as well, like for example auxiliary systems, offensive tech and team support. These passive skills are designed there to give your team a defensive boost or offensive boost, maybe increase your reload speed for powers or power damage or that kind of thing. We also got to see 2 new tech abilities that we've never heard of before. The first one called Invasion, which is an ability that PB seems to have as well, and what this is it's a tech ability that infects opponents with an invasive VI controlled machine swarm that weakens defenses and spreads itself to nearby enemies. So it just sounds lethal, and it sounds really, really interesting. We also have the Remnant VI, which is I guess in a way like the combat drone, and it deploys a retrofitted Remnant observer that repairs itself over time, cloaks when critically damaged, and counts as a tech construct. Now the interesting thing with that is in the name Remnant VI. Now the Remnant we know are an enemy or a faction that you meet within the game. So perhaps you don't gain this Remnant VI until you unlock more of their mysteries and explore more of the Remnant kind of site. So it'll be interesting if you can actually gain and develop abilities and skills through experience, carrying out the story, and also exploration. That'll be interesting to see. As we can see on the current loadout here, we can see 3 abilities that have been chosen: Overload, Flak Cannon, and Remnant VI. Now what we can see here actually, which is quite interesting, is on Overload there seem to be 2 little icons to the left and the right. Now this I think might indicate that the power has 2 abilities to it, 2 modes, and perhaps that is what that indicates. As well, we also have a coloured circle around them, and I think that the orange coloured circle denotes a tech power. The red circle means it's a soldier skill, and obviously if it was a blue circle I assume it would mean it is a biotic power. We got to see a little bit more on the leveling tree, which looks incredibly familiar. For those of you that will have played Mass Effect 3, it's exactly the same as in Mass Effect 3. So each skill has 6 ranks to it. The first 3 ranks are linear and usually involve an increase in damage, recharge speed, and that sort of thing. But then as you get to the 4th rank, you can branch out to choose whether you want more power, faster recharge speed, more reach, that sort of thing. So yeah, the skills are quite interesting and look very familiar, but with some nice new additions. Another thing that we saw from this as well is when you actually level up your skills to level 6, for example, that actually has a direct impact on your profile, and it will actually level up your profile and perhaps unlock a new profile title. So for example here we could see that Ryder, by gaining level 6 in Flamethrower, actually got a Technical Overseer and Engineer profile rank 4, which it gives you increased boost stats in things like tech damage, reload speed, that sort of thing. So that would be quite interesting to see. From seeing all those menus then, we actually got to see some more combat as Ryder was taking out some remnant forces there. Something called a nullifier, which looked like a turret. We got to see some of the skills. So we got to see actual flamethrower in use, and also the charged overload in use as well. And we got to see Ryder using his jetpack there to get out of a difficult situation. And as we can see, the ammo in the bottom left hand side, if we go back here, is actually holographic, so that'll make it a lot easier to be able to see it in the world to pick up those items. Yeah, overall the video footage was really good, and you know, even though it was short, if you do pause and look at it, you do actually discover a lot, and I am really liking the new RPG elements that we saw in the game. I do like the whole idea of profiles being changeable in the middle of a match, and some of the new skills looked incredibly exciting. So I am ready now for the game to be released on the 21st of March in America, 23rd of March in Europe. I would like the next trailer footage to show a little bit more information on the multiplayer, but I really don't need to see much more information on our companions nor on the story, because I don't want to be spoiled too much before the game is released in March. But anyway, that's everything that we learned about Mass Effect Andromeda from the most recent gameplay trailer. What are your thoughts on the information that we learned? What did you think of the reveal? Let me know in the comment section below. Take care, guys and girls, and as always, happy gaming.